Hello and welcome to the DM's Book Club, a weekly book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons & Dragons some of the time and how we would improve it and include it in any and all of our role-playing campaigns. That's kind of what the tagline is. Honestly, I keep forgetting what it is. This is what happens when you're on your own during the festive period. Hello everyone, my name is Fiona, I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one part of the DM's Book Club. If you've been following on this world building series, you know that I've gone completely bonkers and I've decided to do some world building in the void that is December because, again, people are busy and I did not plan ahead due to various life stuff. So far, we've done 6 of these prompts from the Ultimate RPG World Building deck by James D'Amato. We have done so far 2 places. We've done a faction. We've done a person or people, and we did 2 history prompts last session. And so, as always, I've basically gone through the deck, randomly selected a couple from these different 5 categories we've got, and then we've just been doing 3 of them per session. And so far, I think it's going very well. It's kind of like an improv where it says, like, think about the connections afterwards. You don't need to think of them beforehand, which is probably very good. The amount of times I've been in improv and people are like, but how does this connect to this? It's like, don't worry about that. Just create the thing and then work out how it goes from there. So today, friends, I've pulled from the deck another history prompt, and then a new category for us. So we've got 2 rumours as well, 2 rumours, which I feel like I'm going to enjoy that category. I will say, though, I dislike the colour they've used for rumours. It's like a horrible brown colour on the cards. For the history ones, we've got like this gorgeous, like deep red, like wine colour. And then for the other ones, it was like a green, there's a blue. So yeah, now I've got this horrific brown. So I'm already like, ugh. Anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? So we're going to do the first prompt. We're going to do the history prompt. We're going to get all the histories out the way because we pulled 15 cards and we did 2 history prompts last time. This is the last history one that we're going to get for this little session. Ooh. So what we have here for history, we have a punishment. As always with these cards, they're split into 2 things. So the first part is we pick some options from the little list of choices, and then we have 4 questions to answer. So, a punishment, so this carefully crafted punishment, blank and blank. However, it also blanks. And then it says, fill in the blanks from the 3 options from the following list. So we've got 6 options here. Kept the victim alive as long as possible. Appeased or provoked an aggravated populace. Turned the victim into a recognizable symbol. Gave the issuer a reputation for ruthlessness. Pleased or angered gods or spirits. Transform society's relationship with crime and punishment. Now, interestingly, I've kind of already done something like this with the burial prompt that we had last session. But I feel like instead of just like being a bit cheating and like just using that prompt to like expand, or using this prompt to expand the burial prompt, let's try and like build something else. So what do you think? This carefully crafted punishment did 2 things, and it also did something else. Thinking about it, the previous prompts said like 2 sort of like, say, notable things and then 1 infamous thing. Or what was it? The other thing was like, so 2 things that everyone knows, but no one knows this, right? 2 things that are like positive and then 1 that is negative. Here it's just like 3 things, right? so it kind of, yeah, I kind of a bit like, well, I just picked 3 options that, I guess it's hard to be like 2 famous things, an infamous thing, maybe for punishment. Well, I think definitely the last option, however, it also did something. It gave the issuer a reputation for ruthlessness. I think this is the punishment. Like, I think rather than who gets punished, the person that gets punished, it's about who issues it. Okay, so I think that's going to be the one option I take. Gave the issuer a reputation for ruthlessness. I don't care for keep alive as long as possible because we kind of already got that with the burial. Appeased or provoked a grievous populace. Pleased or angered the gods. I think, maybe... What about this? How do we say that this carefully crafted punishment appeased an aggrieved populace, but it angered the gods or spirits, and it gave the issuer a reputation for ruthlessness? I feel like that's different enough. Because I can see the other way around, like it's provoked an aggrieved populace, but it pleased the gods. So I think let's do it the other way, because I think it'll be more interesting to talk about. So that's our sort of setting scene there. So here's the questions. We have who devised this punishment and who ordered it to be carried out. Let's say who ordered to carry it out was the city council. Maybe the mayor or like a local thing. But it was maybe it was like a third party who devised the punishment. As bleak as it sounds, maybe it's like a third party company that deals with like maybe upgrading punishments. Maybe it is like, the capital punishments is like very old fashioned. Try this new one. So I think it's a third party company that has devised this particular procedure, and therefore the city council has bought into it and is the ones carrying it out, like authorizing it. I think like the city council here, or the council here, has just gone, yep, with approval, and obviously then nobody, well, maybe everyone likes it. Hang on, appeased and agreed populace. I need to think about this a little bit more. Wait, let's start with that. It has been devised by a third party, almost like travelling punishment facility, perhaps, or company, but it has been carried out, or has been ordered to carry out by the city council. Maybe there has been a big thieves guild problem. They are stepping out of line a little bit. And so this company specializes with those people who are tricky. Not tricky, what's the word I'm looking for? It's aiming for like money laundering. It's aiming for those dark deals, perhaps, rather than violence or murder. Like it's very targeting specialist crimes to do with money or jewels, like heists maybe. And maybe this rise of crime has made the town really angry. Like no one is safe and everyone's at their wits' end. There are people who live here. Maybe that's it. This town has become a haven for criminals because it's just, maybe it's like one of those principalities that is between two like regions, and so there's like they have their own laws here. Maybe it's like Vatican City, right? It's like the tiniest little country. It's literally this township between two things, and so people will come and seek refuge here. And because of change in laws, people don't want to leave, and so there's lots of criminals around, and people in the town are like, well, this isn't what we're like. It's like an administrative error of some sort. Where is this punishment commonly memorialized? All right, first thought, best thought. Memorialized makes me think of memorials, and we've already done burials. It makes me think of statues. It makes me think of like the cenotaph. Maybe it's something to do with being turned into statues. Maybe the big rising crime has to do with stealing beautiful items, gems, artworks, statues, jewelry, vases, the lot, right? And I think it's an art gallery, and it's like putting on like a rogues gallery. It's a rogues gallery. Oh, I'm a genius. Okay, it's a rogues gallery in the sense of those people who have been punished or been caught red-handed stealing stuff, they are transformed into the artwork or item that they were stealing. And then they're put on display as a warning to not do that. So you have people, there's people stuck in paintings. You have jewelry, like a big long necklace, but each of the pearls has a tiny face on it, of the whole thieves heist team that got caught. That's the sort of thing. Oh, a rogues gallery. Oh, I'm a genius. A literal rogues gallery. So yeah, I think there's an art, like a would-be mixture of a tourist attraction and a prison, a jail with all these people in it. And maybe one quest could be that someone has been wrongfully imprisoned. And so you have to go, as the PCs, you have to go and steal back whatever it is. This basically, in my head, it's like the fake versions of the art piece. So say, for example, if someone stole the Mona Lisa or like in the Louvre recently, right? They got caught, and then they're like, as punishment, you are going to remain as an art piece because maybe the art pieces have been found, they're sold quickly. There's just a picture of this like Mona Lisa-esque type art, but instead of the Mona Lisa, it is like a young foppish man with a mustache and a little goatee who's like is frozen in place, that little like smile. Why is this punishment considered more terrible than any that preceded it or followed it? Because everyone, it's clear, it's almost like it's public display. It's a public display, right? It's public display, and you're trapped there. Like, there's no bail, there's no nothing about it. You're trapped there until the item is recovered, or you are proven innocent, and that's very difficult to do. And you're just trapped, frozen in these again, it's magic, right? Maybe it's this third party specializing in dealing crime. They are wizards who polymorph, and you lose time. Like, you forget yourself. You become the artwork. You become the item. And so maybe there's even like instances where later on in the party you pick up like a sword in a horde, and it's like, no, I'm a fake sword. I used to be a person, and I can't. You can't do anything. You just look the part, but you're a fake. There's like a little plaque next to every piece of art or item that details who you are, the crime you've committed, and like other bits about you in graphic detail. What falsehood about this was a PC raised to believe? What makes the truth difficult? Oh, I mean, keep it simple, I think. The falsehood is that it doesn't hurt them. When you change it to think it doesn't hurt, it's just like you become that thing. You're trapped. But it doesn't hurt. Like, it's fine. But I think it does hurt, because it's like the transformation of it is it's your actual body. You're not contained in like a frame. Your body is the frame. The vase is your body, you know. Oh, it's like in Doctor Who, there's one which is like the picture's slowly moving. And so everything's at very slow speed. So you can't hear the people talking, but they're actually screaming. They're actually like moving very, 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 very slowly, changing. They're in a lot of pain. They're just imprisoned in these special items, but actually it is a polymorph spell. So it's their whole body is rearranged and changed. And so they are in constant pain and agony as a reminder of their crime. What makes the truth difficult is that that's awful. Like, no one should be in pain. Let's just recap. This punishment, the Rogues Gallery, is a carefully crafted punishment which is to appease an aggravated populace, and it angers the gods or spirits. And I think the reason it angers the gods or spirits is because of that last thing, of that, you know, it is more punishing people, and maybe innocent people have been caught up in it. Those innocent people are being almost tortured, like in a lot of pain. It also gave the issuer a reputation for ruthlessness. Whatever this third-party company that specializes in this crime, it's a group of wizards. It has to be a group of wizards. All right, I've gone to Fantasy Name Generator to try and find some good like art collective names. I've gone to Artwork Name Generator. There's the Unfortunate Web, which I like. I like Web. That's a good one. But the Canvas of Nobodies. Maybe something to do with that. Let me write that down. I like that. Canvas of Nobodies. I mean, that's also a good name for Rogues Gallery as well, I'm not going to lie. If you wanted to do like, oh, people are trapped in a picture. But who devised it was this third-party company, let's say a group of wizards who specialize in like catching people, maybe sorcerers, maybe sorcerers. And they specialize in this kind of crime, like not only getting the people, but changing them into these things. And they specifically are targeting the Thieves Guild that is here. And these punishments are being carried out, or ordered to carried out, by the town council to appease the local populace who have been crossed that it feels like this town has become riddled with criminals. And it's considered terrible, this punishment, because it's on public display. Your crime, as you're changed into these items, is a tourist attraction. And there's a little white plaque detailing your crimes. There's no bail. You're only freed if the item is returned or unless you're proven innocent. There's a falsehood, is that no one is hurt during this process. It's actually a frame or a empty vase that they capture you in, but actually it is just a polymorph spell, and it leaves the prisoner in constant agony. And I wonder if when they're changed back, there's still like some residual mark. Maybe there's like an artist mark somewhere on them. This Canvas of Nobodies, they have a special mark. So maybe like if you're changed back, if you like stolen a version of the Scream, right? And so you're transferred, and then it's discovered that you were innocent, or the item has been returned, and you are the spell is broken on you. You are able to leave, but you have like an artist's signature on your body somewhere, maybe like under your right eye, or maybe the maker's mark on like the palm of your hand, something like that. Oh, great! That's so much fun. I will say, when I started this, I was like, oh, I don't really have anything. And now that I've hit on something, I feel really excited for it. I actually feel incredibly smart as well. I'm sure other people have thought of this as well, but I was just like, oh my God, Rose Gallery, of course that's what it is. So yeah, I feel pretty good about that one. Okay, so that's our first history prompt done. That's 1 of 3 today. Next up is the first of our rumour prompts. Let's see what we got. Ooh, so this first rumour prompt is an excuse. Choose 2 things this excuse enables and 1 thing it prevents. So the 6 options we have are refusals to aid those in need, alienation of the vulnerable, risk avoidance, harsh punishment, probing investigations, and difficult conversations. That's not much to go on, is it? God, you have to think. I kind of like these. Like, here's like the building blocks. I don't really have something straight off about like what the excuse could be, but here's 3 things you can do. So again, it has these 2 things: 2 things you enable, and 1 thing it prevents. Now, the first one that jumps out to me is difficult conversations. I want that to be enabled. I kind of like that idea. Next one. Let's say risk avoidance for the other enabled. So it enables difficult conversations and risk avoidance. But it prevents something, and we've got left refusals to aid to those in need, alienation of the vulnerable, probing investigations, harsh punishment. I don't want to do harsh punishment, we've just done a punishment one. Let's go for alienation of the vulnerable. I think, I just had a quick look at the questions. I wonder if we can change this to be something that's like a positive rumour. I always think rumours are rooted in negativity. So, first question, is this excuse more rooted in fear or gentleness? Let's say gentleness. I like the idea that it's like a positive thing. It enables difficult conversation, risk avoidance, alienation of the vulnerable. An excuse. What could it be? Who was this excuse made to protect? Who accepts this excuse most readily? This excuse, this rumour, I think... Oh, sorry, I'm an idiot. I've just realised that behind me, again, for the listeners at home, I'm surrounded by artwork. One of the art pieces is of the Happiness Patrol, which is a Doctor Who serial from the 80s. It's one of my favourite pieces, and the whole point of it is like talking about how happy you are. And like it's a commentary on various different things that were happening in the UK in the 80s. But I like that, happiness will prevail. And that obviously is a very dystopian view of it, but maybe here there has been a big push to be more positive. There's a big movement about positivity, because maybe there's big, horrible things happening in town. I mean, we've had 2 very horrible things happen so far in what we were talking about. So maybe there's a big sort of movement, the happy movement or something like that. The rumour is that maybe there's like mystery shopper-esque like people that are out. And so when somebody asks you how your day has been and do you want to talk about anything, you have to be truthful. Maybe there's like big zones of truth that have been cast over various meeting points, like the cafes or the libraries, and you have to be true. I guess because I've seen a lot of stuff recently, it's December, so instantly big theme that's happening in December is like, let's avoid loneliness by talking to each other. So maybe that's what it is. This rumour is that during this season, there has been some sort of movement or some sort of, maybe let's say rumour. Maybe I feel rumour's not necessarily related to Fae or anything like that, but maybe there's been a big push to include people and to have these difficult conversations that you have to be truthful to one another. Because if you're not truthful, it will give you bad luck for the rest of the year. Maybe it's that. Maybe that's you should always check in on your family or check in on loved ones or strangers. Because if you fail to be a good Samaritan or a good person, you are gonna, you will have bad luck for the rest of the year. Is that sort of thing? You never know what's going on in someone else's life, and so you got to ask. So I think people are just hyper vigilant on asking people how they are and having those difficult conversations. So it's going with your gut. So I think it's a positive. I'm talking myself around the subject, but it's to stem off the loneliness of the winter night. And so whenever someone asks you how you are, you should be truthful, because if you're not, you don't know if somebody will ask again. Kind of like the boy who cries wolf. This is what I'm just trying to work out what it is. So we'll go back from that. So it's rooted in gentleness. It is a nice thing, ultimately. I just think of seasonal affectiveness disorder. That's what I'm thinking of really here. Who was this excuse made to protect? Who accepts this excuse most readily? I think it was made to protect, everyone's well-being, right? I mean, that's the silly answer, but is to embrace yourself and embattle yourself against the winter months, right? I wonder as well, because traditionally folk stories and fairy tales were originally meant for women to tell lessons to each other, women and children to tell lessons to each other, to avoid the bad man and look after yourself. So I think this is during the winter months where everyone's on the lookout for everyone else, because maybe they get a lot of snow, maybe you get snowed in. And so it's trying to keep in mind about you are not the center of the world, you're not the main character, you got to look after each other. I've written down protect against the dark of the season and the soul. Maybe there are rumoured creatures that will prey on you if you let the negativity out. I'm thinking Grinch style, or even Rime of the Frost Maiden. There was characters in that I think were preyed upon when they had a weakness, darkness in them, and it was manipulated. So I think maybe that's what it is to protect everyone from falling to this cold spirit's influence. Okay. Who accepts this excuse most readily? Probably women. I think I want to say nosy women. I put gossiping people, nosy people, right? Because those people like to share, but they also like to share other people's business, right? They're like, oh, well, Miss Agatha, she, well, I shouldn't say really, but she has been feeling a case of down in the dumps. It's that sort of thing. If you give, it's almost giving out other people's business. So, as you don't. But then, if you share that stuff, people are like, oh gosh, and then people would go over to Miss Agatha and be like, I'm so sorry, I've heard about this. Yeah, so it's sharing everyone's. You've got to share what you know about other people. It's almost gossipy. So people do that. So, for their own good, to protect them against, the dark spirits that linger in the winter's nights. Horrible. What does the excuse fail to address? How does it make things worse? Whilst it's very positive to share everything, I do think it means that certain things that should be private, that people are dealing with, then get shared around this community quite quickly. So, for example, a separation, perhaps, people trying to go deal with it in their own time, or the grieving of, somebody's passing. I think there's that almost too many cooks in the kitchen, people trying to help and be mindful, but actually they don't know what to help. I always think of, there's always that tip that somebody said, there's if somebody has passed away, don't send flowers to the family, send vases, because they're already going to get a lot of flowers. I always thought that was really interesting. But I think that, so anyway, the point is it fails to address that some things don't need to be shared with the whole community. But also, you are allowed to feel sad and bad and horror and hatred. You're allowed to feel these negative feelings, right? You're allowed to sit in them, as long as it doesn't, it basically, this whole excuse is to stop them from spiraling out of control, right? Almost like a self-regulation, self-policing thing by the community. But actually, we should be able to feel these feelings and regulate them ourselves. And to do that, we need to experience them. So actually, by not being able to share, I don't think we could be our true selves, and learn if we can't have these feelings without somebody judging them. Maybe, people are talking about, say, for example, a teenager has had something happen to them and they are, angry and upset and sad. And maybe it's, they've been rejected, right? They've admitted that they love someone, their crush, and the crush has said no, and they're having to deal with it, and everyone's like, don't worry, there's plenty more fish in the sea, blah, 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 blah. But they are struggling to contend with that, because that's what their whole life has been about. But up until this point, it's I must love, and dealing with that. And so they've been told that not to have these negative feelings. Yeah, it's something to do with that, I think. Because if you can't have those negative feelings, if you can't have the range, right? Because of this rumor that if you feel those bad things, if you're not a good person, you will be manipulated and changed by the winter. I think people then struggle to know what happiness is. And therefore that we had these subjective points about what happiness is, and dealing with, not understanding that everyone's happiness is different. Everyone can feel different emotions, and some people feel more than others. Like, loneliness affects us all, but some people embrace the loneliness a little bit more than others, and that's okay. So I think this has something to do with that, I feel. And so whilst this rumor, this excuse to talk to each other and be as open as possible and everything's fine, it's supposed to be positive, but it's almost like toxic positivity, toxic happiness. And then finally we have, who will call on the PCs to act using the excuse as justification? You know what, I've been listening to a lot of Vaesen recently, a Vaesen podcast called Lost Mountain Saga, and it's kind of similar here. I can imagine someone's been called and goes, oh, my son has not been the same, and he, we're trying to fix him using this technique of being open, and maybe he'll open up to you because you are strangers. And maybe it's also trying to train the PCs who've come to this town how to be more open with their feelings, perhaps. Maybe. Yeah, something like that. I feel like they've been called in by maybe an influential family, or a friend of a friend, a contact they have here, to deal with their to deal with a son or someone growing up. God, you can have so much here. I'm just thinking about all the stuff about I can't remember what the name of the act was, but the whole sort of restricting LGBTQ materials in schools in the 80s, the stuff in the army in the US, it's we're going to ask you to use this to see if you can have a better go at doing this, and realistically it's not going to work. Because I think this could be interesting, right? Because they'll feel like, oh, he's acting out, he's embracing all the bad things, and it's a mixture of maybe this person is going through puberty, there's been obviously rejected, and therefore is the prime suspect to be manipulated by these dark spirits. But actually, I wonder if the dark spirits are just hey man, yeah, embrace yourself, be the cool emo kid, be the angry things. I think it's what a turnaround is. Actually, happiness won't prevail, but it gets better. It gets better. There you go. Those are the two dichotomies. Is that happiness will prevail versus it gets better, because they both mean different things. Kind of, right? Happiness will prevail means we must do this, whereas it feels like it gets better, it comes better on your own terms. That was a long way of getting around to what the excuse was, but just to recap, this excuse, this rumor, it enables difficult conversations and risk avoidance, but it prevents the alienation of the vulnerable. Such excuse of basically happiness will prevail, you've got to be as open as you can when somebody asks you about something, don't hide anything, let go of negative feelings and embrace the happiness. This excuse is rooted more in gentleness. Its initial thing was to stave off loneliness and those bad feelings during the winter months, for fear of any creatures that appear in the winter months to manipulate and use that against you. This excuse was made to protect everyone's benefit, protect against the dark of the season and the dark of the soul. It's meant to help everyone. It's readily accepted, and they're probably abused by gossiping people. I put gossiping women, but it could be anyone who likes sharing other people's dirty laundry. And as a result, you share something, then everyone knows about it in the village, and they'll come up and talk to you about it, which clearly goes over some boundaries, I think. What does this excuse fail to address? How does it make things worse? Some things don't need to be shared with the whole community. Stuff like people going through separation, the loss of someone, maybe a passing of an elderly relative, or even a sick child. And it makes it worse because people they feel like they must share their good emotions. They must share something. And they're not allowed to sit in the negative feelings. And therefore people are struggling to regulate what exactly makes them happy, because they have to be happy all the time. Who will ask the PCs to use this excuse? There's a connection that has an extended family, needs their help, because maybe I think I said the son is recovering from the rejection of a crush, maybe even a job application as well. Maybe they've had a really bad time recently, bullying as well. or feeling that they don't fit in. Maybe they're adopted. Anything like that. They're struggling with this stuff, and they want to go to the PCs because they are maybe someone that, or maybe they're a group of adventurers that these people look up to. They're so heroic. Any of their deeds seem very heroic, but maybe when they get there and talk to it turns out that maybe it could be like the PCs share that their stories of like, well, it wasn't all that, we lost someone, or I hurt myself, I almost died, and they can share those stories with the person. Yeah, something like that. I'm less enthused about it. I feel like it's a little bit loosey-goosey compared to the Rose Gallery. But you know what? I think that was an interesting one. I think I would have struggled to do that if we did that in a group. I think I would have gone, I don't know. On to the third one. It's another rumour, the final one today. An opportunity we have. Okay. Choose one possibility this opportunity guarantees and two things it suggests. Oh, interesting. A chance to confront a rival, significant wealth, renown from strangers and or loved ones, access to secret knowledge, a real challenge, a way to grow in power. Well, I know, clearly one here, significant wealth, that's always the opportunity, right? I always feel that. I think that's one of the suggestions. There could be significant wealth behind it. And, I don't know. Nothing's really standing out to me. Maybe, let's go for renown from loved ones. And then one guarantee, what we've got left, a chance to confront a rival, access to secret knowledge, a real challenge, and a way to grow in power. Let's say a real challenge. So we have an opportunity that's a real challenge, and it suggests that we can have significant wealth or renown from loved ones. And our questions start with the following. Why is the window for this opportunity narrow? Oh man, maybe it's a heist. maybe that's what it have made it. A real challenge. Okay, what is a significant challenge here? Let's not make it a heist or criminal. That's what it could be. Significant wealth. So there has to be a prize, and there's renown from loved ones. Maybe there is like a. In my head, I've got like free climbing is the thing I'm thinking of here. How about this? Maybe there is an obstacle course, like a parkour run obstacle course that goes over the buildings. Right, maybe it's a clock tower. Okay, there's a clock tower in the centre of town, and it's full of like scaffolding and like it's. Here we go. Okay, there's a big clock tower in the middle of town in the town square. And for many, many years, it's had lots of scaffolding all around it. And what people used to do, every other, let's say Sunday or whatever, people would practice doing their parkour, and race to the top of the tower to pull out a flag or something like that. And if you won it, you would get. Everyone has pulled in the money to enter this competition. So it'd be like you'd get the 2 gold it is to enter. You climb it, first one up there gets the flag. They get all the money from the entries bar, like some sort of finder's fee for the organisers, and renown from loved ones because it was, it's quite a difficult task. I can imagine this clock tower being full of like gargoyles, or like maybe there's extra magical glyphs and traps. Like it's a full-on obstacle course around this tower. I'm thinking proper Assassin's Creed-esque, like you're climbing up as quick as you can. There's a sequence in Split Fiction as well. I can see that here. Okay. Maybe clock tower obstacle course. It's not a rumour. I think it's actually happening now. Maybe it's an underground, because it's an underground street scene. God, you can tell I'm not cool. It's an underground rumour that people do this sort of course. They do courses around the whole city, and this is the latest one. This is the one that is almost infamous because it's so. It's an old clock tower, and the reason it has all this there are parkour runs, almost like secret missions, etc., throughout the whole of this particular town or city, and the latest one is going to be on this clock tower. The reason why it's so narrow, this window of opportunity, is because the scaffolding is coming down. There'll be no way for people to actively scale it up because it's finishing renovations. Say tomorrow. Yeah. Maybe it's also well guarded as well, because the clock tower is a symbol of the town. Like it's a protected site, perhaps. Yeah. What? Maybe it's at the top of the clock tower on the little the the bit, is like a magical flame, like a sconce, and you have to grab it. And then when you grab it, it shoots off, going, you've got it. So there you go. Ah, nice. What do PCs need to pay or sacrifice to pursue this opportunity? Well, easily enough, it'll be some money. So say 2 gold pieces, but also a waiver. That means if they get caught, the organisers hold no responsibility to get you out of jail. And you sacrifice your safety as well. I mean, it's going to be dangerous as you're racing against each other. I think though maybe everyone is given like a token of Featherfall that they can activate, but once you've used it, that you're out of the race. That's what I'm going to say. What makes the source of this information questionable or unreliable? Great question. There's like little about it. Like it's like friend of a friend of a friend has talked about this. It feels very much like, Fast and Furious, like, we drive in the streets, but only through these certain bits. So I think that's just, you don't really know who the organisers are. It feels sketchy as heck. I like it. No one knows exactly what's going on in Britain. Which possibility is especially relevant to one of the player characters? Which possibility? Okay, so we've got 2: significant wealth and renown from loved ones. It has to be renown from a loved one. I will say I don't think this really applies to me because obviously I don't have player characters that I'm playing with. But maybe I could have. Maybe it's something as simple as like, this loved one is training for a marathon, or is does running, or is super fit, and this is someone they're trying to impress. And maybe it's someone they're trying to impress. I think by doing some extreme sport that they probably have no interest in, right? Maybe it's even like they're already in love, they're already a partner, and they give off a comment saying like, "Oh, I love you because you're so reliable and dependable. Like you don't, I think they insult them by saying like, you're perfectly not dull, harmless. That sort of thing. You're like, oh, you're predictable, and I like that. And they're like, well, I'm going to show you, and they do something like this. So, okay. So the opportunity we've written about is this rumoured clock tower obstacle course run, which is some sort of parkour challenge. It is a real challenge, hopefully has significant wealth, and maybe some renown from loved ones. It's a narrow window of opportunity because the renovations on the clock tower are finishing tomorrow and all the scaffolding and stuff is coming down. It's also well guarded because they didn't want people to muck up what was happening around the tower. The players must pay 2 gold pieces to enter, and they've got to sacrifice they've got to basically sign a waiver that waives responsibility for anything that happens, whether it's injury or being caught. Everyone also gets a safety token of Featherfall should the worst happen. This opportunity is unreliable. It's sketchy as heck. It's all through word of mouth, all these people getting excited. So no one knows what's really going on. In fact, I suspect that nothing happens. Like you go there, there's a whole group of people and nothing's been organised. It's just like people are just repeating themselves. And so therefore somebody will do it as a result. And then the possibility is especially relevant to one of the PCs. We've gone for the renowned from a loved one and would now need to make the connection that the loved one is doing marathons or loves running, so maybe this PC is trying to impress them, but also maybe as an offhanded comment like, oh, you're just reliable, old, dependable person. Yeah, you don't go out your way, you don't go out of your comfort zone, and then it's like, I'll show you, here's an opportunity to prove people wrong. Again, I feel like I've got the inklings of something there. I think it's all right. I need to workshop it. Again, this is where you'd have other players go like, actually, it's this. I've got something that I like. Each of the ones I've done today, so the punishment, the happiness will prevail rumour, and the clock tower obstacle course rumour, I think those are fun things. I just need to workshop them a bit more, I think, just to really get them home. But there you go. So that is 3 prompts for today's episode. I hope everyone has enjoyed my ramblings for probably an hour and a little bit. We've got 6 more prompts to do, so another 2 episodes, which will be fun. We've got one more rumour, we've got 2 people, we've got 2 institutions, and then 1 place left to do. I think isn't it? I feel like I've got some good set pieces. That's what I was saying, right? But I feel like I've not created a world, and so maybe I need to, for the next one, go back in and do some connections. Maybe. I don't know. But would love to hear your thoughts as always. Please feel free to drop a note in the Discord. Also, any suggestions for the GM's book club for 2026, you can also email me, not What Am I Rolling, that's the other podcast, the DM's book club at gmail.com. And that's it. That's all I have to say. So you will hear from us, see us next time. We're back next week with another episode. And until then, my really lovely good friends, keep safe. And I will see you on the flip side.